Howdy folks, I'm Rowdy. Welcome to Rowdy Rants. Today, I'm playing, I guess, a little bit of conspiracy theory of my own. So, this is just thoughts that I have, suspicions. I don't have any solid proof, but I'm going to present my case. And you, being the judge, can decide whether I'm full of it or not. If nothing else, we'll have a little fun. My suspicions concern our southern border, the U.S.-Mexican border, and what's been happening on it. You'd pretty much have to be living under a rock or in the grave not to know that our border is regularly being inundated with immigrants who are crossing the border illegally. And one thing that I've noticed is the news focuses exclusively on Texas. Almost absolutely exclusively. And you would think a majority of the people sneaking across the border or walking across the border and turning themselves in are exclusively in Texas. What about California? I'm sure with the friendly Gavin Newsom regime that probably 3, 4, 5 times as many are going across the border. And, they probably don't even make an appointment. The Border Patrol probably just waves them on through. Think about it. Once again, I've got no proof, no video, no ideas. Just it's a suspicion because our media would have to be either entirely stupid or completely naive or complicit not to be looking at the whole border. Okay. Now, when you look at what's happening on the border, what you're seeing is surges. And I suspect these are managed surges. And the reason they're managed is under normal operations where you have a certain influx and a decrease. There's more management function available. You have more time to spend with each group to try and filter out the ones that don't need to be there as much as possible. Now, when you have these huge surges, like 15,000, and if you count probably the ones that just kept walking or left in the night or what have you, it's probably closer to 20 to 25,000 Haitians. They all show up, and then one day, the camp is empty. That is a managed surge. And it was deliberate to overwhelm Border Patrol so that they would just pretty much wave people through. Just wave them through, just wave them through. Keep them moving would have been the name of the game. And that's what they did. When you overwhelm them to the point that they can no longer perform their administrative duties and manage the crowd, the choices, since you can't enforce law under the Biden administration. Well, you can enforce law if it's a U.S. citizen, but you can't enforce law against anybody else coming across the border. But all they have is the choice to wave them through. You see, when it was groups of people, you had instances like the children being dropped over the fence as bait to pull Border Patrol away from an area to come there. That was deliberate. They allowed themselves to be seen. They knew where those people were. They have access to the same equipment we do. They did that on purpose. But the thing about it is what happens is everybody's in communication, and the profits are much lower. And if you think about it, their number of immigrants are more manageable. It's easier to filter out the ones that don't belong. And then you have a huge surge instead. And in this huge surge, the only thing they can do is wave people through. Wave them through, keep them moving. 20, 25,000, 30,000. You wouldn't even be able to count it. And, you have Texas reacting, but it was too late. They were already here. And then all of a sudden, just like turning off a switch, they're gone. All of them. Think it through. It fits all of the parameters for somebody who is deliberately planning to overwhelm Border Patrol. And what happens when there's an opportunity to disparage the Border Patrol? Now, instead of being logical and saying, well, he's riding horseback, and what you see are the reins of the horse, and with him leaning over, that rein went over with him, they accused the Border Patrol of whipping people. They disparaged the Border Patrol rather than tell the obvious truth. The entire incident was planned. The photographer said flat out he didn't think he was taking pictures of somebody being whipped. It didn't look like they were being whipped to him. But you have the President of the United States saying someone's going to pay. This is a managed event on the border, repeatedly managed. And from their point of view, they're telling the truth. The border is closed. Their definition of closed, however, is much different than what people would expect. Their definition of closed is it's closed to anyone they don't want. But they want to bring as many refugees as they can into the United States that will be dependent upon them. They even ignore COVID status. They can say that they're checking to see if anyone has COVID. How much can you check to see if someone has COVID when people are being waved through? How much checking is there? This is all managed. It is gamed and gaming by the Democrats. Plain, clear, easy to see. The Republicans are being gamed. The Border Patrol is being gamed probably. The media are one of the gamers. They're not being gamed. They know. They have to know. They have the big picture right in front of them. So yeah, the media is part of it. I can't think of any other reason for the things that we're seeing. You have surge after surge. And you have Texas putting up fence and the Biden administration fighting them on it, and the Biden administration trying to get ahead of them. Because there is no upper limit to the number of refugees they're going to allow into the United States. I'm pretty sure at some point we're going to find that they are harvesting people from these places to come here. It doesn't matter if they have skills. It doesn't matter if they have a past criminal profile. I don't think it matters in any of these things as long as it's a body to come here and support Democrats somewhere. And I'm not talking all Democrats. I'm not talking about Democrat voters. I'm talking about the Democrat politicians and the deep state. And when I say deep state, we're talking about interests that want to keep wages down. They want to suppress wages. They want access to cheap labor. And they don't care what impact this is having on Joe Average Citizen. Joe Average Citizen doesn't mean anything to them. He never has. This is about money. And it's industry that's doing it. They are hollowing out the breadbasket states again. Because that's what happens, is you have the border area winds up with all of the growth under the sun because it's cheaper to pull up operations and move from the flyover states and open business on the border where the cheap labor's at. And you wind up with more and more and more empty factories that have been gutted and abandoned. What we're seeing is the applause of the deep state, because you don't see that the deep state industry is never going to not support this. They may not openly say this, but they know it's to their benefit. And you can guarantee that the representatives and the senators in those areas know what their opinions are and their needs are, and they're ready to go along with it. And they'll continue to. I don't even think we've seen the largest surges yet. I think what we're seeing is things spinning up. All of what we're seeing now is like how they're learning to manage the appearance of something being unmanageable. This will continue. This absolutely will continue. Okay. In summation, I think it's planned from the ground up. It's intentional. The fact that they're bringing in people with COVID doesn't matter. The fact that a U.S. citizen may contract COVID from an immigrant doesn't matter. Well, you should be vaccinated. All right, my name's Rowdy. There it is. And like I said, it's conspiracy. It's conspiracy theory. You know, gossip, guessing, you know, round table bullshit. Mess decks gossip. But I think I'm right, and I think I'll be proven right. Enough so that I believe I've already made the prediction that this will be found to have been managed from within the United States. I would suggest that at some point it will be proven that transportation was paid for from right here within the United States to get them to the southern border. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Always happy to hear from somebody. You have a good day.